With a career that spans 7 decades and close to 20 #1 songs, the legendary Crystal Gayle didn't break into music through her superstar sister Loretta Lynn, but through the famous Wilburn brothers, who brought Crystal to Nashville to be a demo singer for their publishing company, and a promise of a label deal from Patsy Cline's producer, Owen Bradley.
But of course, the Wilburn brothers, I had to bring them in because they brought me down to do demos for their company, publishing company, Surefire Music, which was just right over here on Music Row. And I got to do a bunch of songs, and I learned the studio and how to, work the mic a little bit, and they helped me a lot. And then when Owen Bradley, he said, when you graduate, we'll do a record.
Growing up the baby sister of Loretta Lynn wasn't easy, and at Loretta's encouragement, Crystal would find her own sound that was uniquely hers.
Actually, Loretta told me to not record what she would record. And she thought I should have a different sound because she knew we'd be compared. And she would always say, you go MOR. That was the middle of the road. So that's why I went the middle of the road.
From the moment Crystal debuted in the early 70s, she was known for her effortless vocals and also her beautiful long hair, which she grew more out of necessity than fashion.
I was so lucky during that time to have hair that grew really fast, from 9 to 12 inches a year. When I started out, I had hair. Loretta would say, cut your hair, style it. And I said, I can't fix hair. And I couldn't afford to take someone with me. So I just let it grow, and I could wash it, and I was ready for stage.
Well, she is one of the most recognized voices around the world. From the Hollywood Walk of Fame to the Grand Ole Opry, a career that spans 6 decades, truly providing the soundtrack to our lives. We are on the record, presented by John Deere from Starstruck Studios with the one, the only, Crystal Gayle. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. This is wonderful.
I have to say, I'm watching interviews. How many times when people sit down with you, do they bring up songs that I remember where I was? I remember when I got a divorce. I remember when I got married. Do you ever get tired of hearing that?
I don't. And a lot of times, I'll have people tell me what my music has meant to their life. It might have been a breakup, a bad family life, where they could escape into music. And so they play my music, and it helped them. And that's always made me feel really good.
Yeah, you're so embedded in the personal lives of so many people around the world. And I wonder too, have you ever heard of, I was going to ask you, maybe the oddest thing or maybe the most interesting thing, where maybe some kids are walking around that your song inspired their birth?
Oh yeah, I think so. I've heard that.
That's great. I don't know how many people know this, but you are the youngest, right, of 8 children.
8 children.
Yeah. Of course, Loretta Lynn, your older sister. Different experiences growing up. Of course, everybody knows your sister's story of Butcher Holler. You were born there, not raised there.
No.
Talk a little bit about that and how varied that is.
Being the last of the 8, I never got away from being the baby. Loretta, to the very end, I was the baby. It didn't matter. But I was born in Kentucky, in Paintsville. I was the only one born in a hospital. And I was about 4 when we moved to Wabash, Indiana. And that's where I grew up. And that's really why there's a big difference in the way I would talk and Loretta would talk. I would go and do shows when I first started out, and people would say, you can't be her sister. You don't sound like her. But I'd say, well, I am. And they'd say, no, you're not.
And exposed to different kinds of music, too.
Well, I grew up, singing. Of course, the Opry was on the radio all the time. But when I went to school, I was in choirs, I was in the swing groups, solo. My friends had rock bands, my brothers had the country bands, and if I could sing it, I'd try.
Yeah. I want to talk about what led you, of course, to Nashville. I assume working with your sister, coming here to Nashville, was that, talk about those early years, because you were very young.
My sister, I mean, she believed in me,
Yeah.
and she told me, I was going to record. And
She said you're going to
yes,
record.
I'm going to record. But of course, the Wilburn brothers,
Mm-hmm.
I had to bring them in because they brought me down to do demos for their company, publishing company, Surefire Music, which was just right over here on Music Row. And I got to do a bunch of songs, and I learned the studio and how to, work the mic a little bit, and they helped me a lot. And then when Owen Bradley, he said, when you graduate, we'll do a record. So that was, we went in the studio, and I remember I recorded it actually my senior year, but that was just incredible working with Owen.
We'll talk about getting over that shyness, because I've read over and over again how shy you were early on, and I can't imagine the voice and the talent that you possessed, but the courage that it took to take center stage.
I was always shy as a kid. And, my dad died when I was about 9. So that might have been one of the reasons I sort of went into a shell a little bit, because I remember one of my sisters, Betty, she'd say, you're not crying. But how you deal with death. And, I was a kid. I didn't really realize what was going on at that time. And with everything. And it was like, so I did go into myself, and but it didn't take long. My mother, she'd make me sing for anybody who walked in the door.
I heard you would hide, right?
I would hide. She'd find me.
Well, you mentioned the Wilburn brothers, and I was gonna, last season we talked to a lot of female artists and their experiences in a business that really is male dominated.
Yeah.
Did you find that early on? Was it different? Did you find any challenges?
I never really looked at it that way. I wanted to sing. I never thought, okay, he's getting special privileges that I'm not. I just wanted to sing and record and put my music out, and I was very lucky. I didn't have the problem of having my records played. Going on down with Alan Reynolds, and we recorded, and my records were played, and I was just seeing a billboard plaque I had the other day. I found it in a closet. It said most played female artist of the year. So that was nice.
I want to talk about Alan Reynolds, that is producer, a very famous producer who really kind of helped find your sound, right? I mean, in the studio. We're going to talk about that. So stay with us a lot more when we come back here on The Record. Melodies
have always been important. They have to hit me, and then I listen to the lyrics a little better to see if it's what I want to say. And maybe that's one of the reasons I like the way the music is put together, the sound of the key of the song, because that makes a big difference too.
Welcome back to On the Record, spending time with the incomparable, beautiful Crystal Gayle. We had mentioned before the break, of course, you coming to town and getting over your shyness and touring with your sister, Loretta. I want to take us, maybe have you take us back to your Opry debut. It was not a performance that you were supposed to do. It just happened to be that you had to step on stage for your sister.
I was lucky to be in town at that time. And my sister, which I always hate saying it because she was sick.
Yeah. And
she couldn't perform that night. And Mooney, her husband, he went to the Opry and said, hey, can Crystal come on and sing a song? And it was Ernest Tubbs' band. And they backed me. And I sang Ribbon of Darkness, which was Marty Robbins. And moving on, though, I got to open for Marty. So when I started touring in my career, but it was just so incredible that night. I was so nervous, and I can still see myself on stage.
I heard you still have the dress.
Oh, I have the dress, definitely. My mother made it, and I think it's way up here. I wonder, did she make it that short? Maybe I hemmed it later.
You grew a little bit, maybe. It's interesting. Was everybody there? Because as your Opry debut, people have their family and there's a big party. I mean, you were not ready for that.
It wasn't a big debut because it was that day she had gotten,
Right.
she didn't feel good.
Yeah.
And, they said, hey, it was just like, okay, you're going to sing.
You're going to take the stage.
And, I was so used to roaming the backstage with Ernest Tubbs' daughter and just, carrying on.
You
so it
just
was
like
really nice.
16?
16, 17 around in there, it's, I wish they had photos or something. I'm sure they'd had at some point.
Somewhere, yeah,
Yeah.
the archives. You mentioned also Alan Reynolds, of course, producer. I'm going to talk about Alan in a second, but your very first release was a song that was written by Loretta, right? I'm going to cry the blues.
I cried the blue right out of my eyes.
Out of my eyes.
Yes.
At what point, and maybe did this come from you, or did this come maybe from Alan that said, hey, you should have your own sound, or try and differentiate yourself from your sister?
It really, actually, Loretta told me to not record what she would record. And she thought I should have a different sound because she knew we'd be compared. And she would always say, you go MOR. That was the middle of the road. So that's why I went the middle of the road.
Yeah, MOR, really a kind of a format that you could really cross over.
MOR, easy listening.
Easy listening, absolutely. The songs that, something I said this when we were in commercial break that I've always wanted to ask you. When you look at some of the songs you're recording, a lover, obviously, of ballads, but if you ever change your mind, I don't want to lose your love, never miss a real good thing. Those songs, although breakup songs, you always kind of left the door open for the relationship to kind of come back. And I think about girls today and female artists today, it is like, hell have no fury, like a woman scorned. It is so vastly different. Were you the one that was kind of sensitive to that, or did you even realize that?
Well, if you look at what Loretta would record, Don't Come Home a Drinking with Loving on Your Mind, You Ain't Woman Enough, Take My, all those songs. So as I did, I went the smooth sound in the sense of things that weren't quite that, in someone's face.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you. And I would sing them. I knew all her songs.
Yeah.
But it was just, I loved the songs. I love that style. And of course, Alan, he was a great writer. He wrote my first top 10, which was Wrong Road Again. And then Somebody Loves You.
Yeah.
And he wrote We Must Believe in Magic, Ready for the Times to Get Better.
So romantic.
And I love that because there's songs you can actually take about different things.
Yeah.
They don't have to be about, the breakup or the truck driving or the drinking that beer,
Right.
Or I have anxiety.
Well, let me tell you, what's interesting, even though the songs may be released back in the 70s, today so applicable. I mean, Ready for the Times to Get Better.
Yes.
I mean, it's been so long since I felt that peace, and you think about the lyrics of that song today, I think no matter where we are in life.
And that could be one of the reasons that people have written to me and have gone to my music because of the feel of it. The melodies have always been important to me.
Yeah.
They have to hit me. And then I listen to the lyrics a little better to see if it's what I want to say. And maybe that's one of the reasons they like the way the music is put together, the sound of the key of the song, because that makes a big difference too.
Absolutely. And your voice, my God, what an amazing voice. I want to talk about collaborations that you've done. Of course, Just You and I, Eddie Rabbitt.
Yes.
What was it working with him? Was the chemistry there? Tell me about that song coming together.
Well, Eddie called me and said, hey, will you do some harmony on one of my songs? And I said, send it to me, Eddie. And he sent me the song, and I listened to it, and I called him. I said, I can do a little bit more than harmony. And Eddie had already put his voice down. So I went into the studio and put it down. And it was really, I think I did a few lines over, and that was it. It all just, because I'd had his voice with me. And I love Eddie. His voice was incredible, his writing. And then, of course, with that song, we did a lot of touring.
I got to tell you, I said in the very beginning, do you ever get tired of hearing the stories that people associate your music with where they were in their life? And I was telling my family that I was going to interview you, and my sister yells out, Just You and I, my wedding song, 1984. Gary Morris, another big collaboration. Another World, the soap opera, right?
Another World, Making Up for Lost Time.
Yeah.
That was the Dallas
Dallas song
yes.
for the TV series.
Yes.
Listen, I cannot let you go without talking, of course, about your hair. Just as much as people recognize your voice, your music, and your hair. Stay with us, a lot more on the record with Crystal Gayle.
If I had had 10 tracks down, the day that Loretta put her voice on, Put It Off Until Tomorrow, we'd have had a whole album. And she kept saying, what's next? What's next?
Welcome back to On the Record, spending time with Crystal Gayle. And I mentioned before the break, we were going to talk, of course, about your trademark hair. But I did want to mention, when we were talking about collaborations, a lot of people always said, how many songs have you done with your sisters? I know you recorded with Loretta, you recorded with Peggy Sue at one point.
Yeah, actually, as far as recording, Loretta came on the You Don't Know Me album of mine, and she sang Put It Off Until Tomorrow. We were talking about, and Peggy was on that too, but we had been talking about an album, but we'd just, we'd get together and we'd, have too much fun. And it never happened. And I don't know why, in the sense of we go off in our own little ways, but, it never bothered us really, because we would sing together, when we were together. I mean, we performed a lot together. But as far as recording, it just never fell into place, except if I had had 10 tracks down, the day that Loretta put her voice on, Put It Off Until Tomorrow, we'd have had a whole album, because she kept saying, what's next? What's next?
So she was ready.
She had said she'd do the one song, so I just prepared the one.
You just don't know, right? It would just be off the cuff.
It would have.
As I said, I would be remiss if I did not mention your beautiful hair. And I think everybody, when I say I'm talking to, they go, how long is your hair? I heard you keep it, is it 6 inches off the ground? Is that right? Or?
The longest I think I let it be on the ground was about 4 inches, and because I'd have the heels. And then I was starting stepping all over it, and I just said, 3 inches off the ground is where I kept it all the years. And I was so lucky during that time to have hair that grew really fast, from 9 to 12 inches a year. That would be my trimmings that I would take off.
And the idea of doing that, of letting your hair grow, it was really kind of out of necessity?
Well, when I started out, I had hair. I mean, Loretta would say, cut your hair, style it. And I said, I can't fix hair. And I couldn't afford to take someone with me. So I just let it grow, and I could wash it, and I was ready for stage.
Did you ever get pressured by the label or change?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. Warner Brothers definitely wanted me to cut it. I can remember Jim Ed Norman. I love Jim Ed.
If you're watching, Jim.
Cut your hair, Jim Ed. Jim Ed wanted me to, but my kids.
The fans. You couldn't.
My kids would say, don't cut your hair, Mom, you won't be Crystal Gayle. And then my mother, definitely my mother. I came in the house once with my hair in my coat, and I thought she was going to have a heart attack because it looked like I had cut my hair, because it was just folded in. And that's why I haven't really. Yeah. I will. I need to. Maybe I could style it, and then I won't have to think about going to Mexico.
Don't they ever say, like they would really feel like, I would think even your fans are growing their hair out, through the years to be like you. Like that is a style that
I have a lot of Crystal Gayles out there that have long hair. And, it's so cute to see the hair and the little kids it's incredible to see that if you love long hair, if you don't want to mind dealing with it, then, go ahead.
Your hair, timeless, like your music, timeless. I want to talk about Brown Eyes. As we said, this was, I think you've mentioned over and over that this was a first take in that studio. Yeah. I thought maybe we could play a little bit. You performed this on Larry's Country Diner. It was, of course, a show that you guys see here on RFD-TV. Let's go ahead and take a look at Crystal Gayle's performance. Here it is.
Say it is untrue, and gonna make my brown eyes blue. Tell me no secrets, tell me some lies. Give me no reasons, give me alibis. Tell me you love me and don't let me cry. Say anything, but don't say goodbye. I didn't mean to treat you bad. Didn't know just what I had honey, now I do. And don't I make my brown eyes, and don't I make my brown eyes, and don't I make my brown eyes blue.
Miss Crystal Gayle performing Don't It Make Your Brown Eyes Blue from Larry's Country Diner, a show, of course, that you've seen here on RFD-TV. I mentioned timeless, your songs, your hair, your look, also your marriage. Your husband is here in the studio, behind the cameras over there, but becoming your manager early on. He's been with you through all of it. Talk about that and that balance.
Well, you have to give and take. I mean, he takes a lot.
He's over there. He can't defend himself. We don't have a mic.
Of course, when you are in this business and you're getting everything ready, you have nerves. You're getting ready to go on show. I mean, who's going to get snapped at would be Bill.
The manager, yeah.
So, as long as he realizes that.
Yeah, but it's worked all these years. And your children, are they also musical? I know your son co-produced your last studio album.
My son is in town working with a lot of younger people coming up in business and just having fun with it. And, if you love it, you try it, you do it. And some make a living constantly with it. But I always say, if you love doing it, just sing anywhere you want to, whether it's in church, down at the diner, or, anywhere. It's music is healing. And I think that's really the main thing. Our whole family would sing and play instruments, and we'd gather in the living room. In Kentucky, before we left, it was always on the porch. But, it's just a part of you. It was entertainment for us as in our family.
You still love it after all these years?
I still do. I'll be on stage. I don't do that many shows as I used to, but it's nice to hear people sing along with you. They know the songs better than I do.
And what's amazing is that no matter, and as I said in the intro, globally recognized, you travel a lot overseas. You've done that with the Bob Hope Tour years and years ago, and getting to perform, in so many places. Right?
We've been in Korea. We've been to China. We've been all over. And I think when I first started going to England, in London, I'd be walking around, I'd hear my songs coming out from the shops. That was really neat. I loved that. And, and I remember hearing When I Dream, and that was over the world radio. And I thought, I like that.
That's something. Crystal Gayle, you are something. We love you so much. Thank you for all these years of music, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Marching on the Record, presented by John Deere. We'll see you next time.